I think that we really wanted to get back to something that was at the core of the style of the original Ratchet games. And that is, we wanted to get back to having a lot of vibrant color. We wanted to get back to a lot of the really fun sense of form that we use to make our characters and environments and everything else. We really wanted to kind of go back to just the overall sort of density, use of vegetation, like everything that goes into making every single location in the game really, really rich and interesting. We really tried to approach the game with a good sense of natural light, with accurate lighting conditions and balanced lighting, as if we're looking at, real conditions that you would find in the real world. More than anything else, we wanted to make something that is just colorful, really fun to look at in every way. We knew that we wanted to make something epic. We knew that we wanted to make something that kind of got back to the origins of the franchise with really a sense of space exploration. And that led to a lot of early concept images that really showed a lot of levels that had really interesting hooks and kind of like really exciting new ways of thinking about other exotic planets for us. And many of us on the team really enjoyed the change of pace, and we really enjoyed kind of a new challenge to sink our teeth into with a next-generation Ratchet title.
The role of gameplay programming is really to put all the pieces together, and in particular on Ratchet Clank Future, we have a lot of different roles, including the character controls, camera, weapons, enemies, gameplay modes, space combat, that sort of stuff. I think the key to balancing out various gameplay modes, for example, exploration versus combat, is just to make sure that the pacing is about right. You don't want to be on the edge of your seat the entire time. You want to take a break every now and then. So we make sure to intersperse all sorts of different gameplay modes such that the player is always seeing something new and always has something to look forward to. One of our key focuses is to make sure that the game is pick up and play, but for the people that really want to get into it, there's a lot to do there. We as gamers at Insomniac are very hardcore, and our natural tendency is to develop things that are very complicated and advanced. And so that's sort of the easier part of the job, is to put the depth into it and make the game that we would love to play. Everyone can personalize the experience. You can play through the game however you want. You can focus and replay the segments that you find most compelling. You can upgrade the weapons that you think are most interesting. You can pretty much make this your game experience. The best part of my job is watching everything come together. Like, eventually, it's a lot of work to get everyone on the same page and try and put it all together, but once you actually have that product at the end, it's pretty amazing, what kind of things a large group of people can really do.
The story behind Ratchet Clank Future is Ratchet's quest to find out what happened to the Lombaxes and who he is. And that's actually also kind of Clank's story as well. Clank is going to find out new things about himself and maybe where he comes from.
Engaging cryosleep.
Cryosleep? No. There's no way I'm gonna...
It is fortunate cryosleep does not work on robots.
The object of the game is basically for Ratchet to not only solve the mystery of his race, the Lombaxes, and find out where they went, but to locate a mysterious Lombax secret that is somewhere in the Polaris galaxy that can somehow put an end to the evil reign of Emperor Tachyon. And Emperor Tachyon wants this Lombax secret as well, and even though we don't know what that secret is, we know that it's very powerful, and it's something that the Lombaxes had made eons ago in order to fight an evil race known as the Kragmites.
You are now entering Fastoon. Touching down in 5, 4, oops, 3, 2, 1.
Humor plays a big role in the Ratchet and Clank games. Every one of our games has interesting, colorful characters that are a little bit offbeat.
Blame the parrot! Always blame the parrot!
Is everything all right, sir?
Imperial spies! Hide their bodies!
It's good to have one game that everybody from children to adults can kind of play and enjoy and laugh at.
Oh, dear.
Oh, it's you two. Almost didn't recognize you in high def.
My name is Ben Van Dyken, Associate Animator here at Insomniac Games, and that's basically what I do, is animate the characters, take the character models, and give them life, and create move sets, and then also for cinematics. Well, originally I grew up in Seattle, Washington. I got into games basically through a testing job. I worked in games before going to school for about 3 years or so. And I went to school recently at Academy of Art University in San Francisco. And that's basically where I studied animation. now with the art assets, especially, on the art side of things, it's like there's so much more involved now. The more we move into like this next gen gaming, the more demand I think there is on the art department and animation, just because the level of it has to be brought up, which requires a lot more effort to really create something that's good. We have a lot more to go as far as pushing the characters. I think gradually we're starting to get to the point where we can almost push the characters as much as film. Outside of work, I usually spend time with my family, go to the beach, go to the park. I have a 2-year-old daughter, so she's a lot of fun to play with. And then I just play a lot of games. And that's what my wife and I like to do for fun. So we play a lot of games together, and then I go to work and make them. Yeah.
My name is Dylan Gould, and I'm doing localization for Ratchet Clank Future. So what localization does is we take all of the text and audio from the game, and we make sure that it gets translated into several other languages. In fact, in this game, we're doing 14 other languages. Grew up in Dallas, Texas, and I moved out to California to LA to go to school at USC, and I liked it better here, so I stayed here. At SC, I studied aerospace engineering and linguistics. Kind of a weird combination. As soon as I was done with school, I was just like, wow, I've got to work in games. I really respect and admire what they do. I mean, it's got to be hard translating. I mean, there's so much humor in the game, right? It's got to be difficult translating all the jokes.
So you're a Lombax who doesn't know the Lombax secret? That's so...
ironic?
I take it he's the smart one.
Go to college, definitely. Probably study games, because so many colleges now do have some kind of program where you can study games or interactive media or something like that. The secret is to have your own side projects. Like, definitely you've got to get that kind of practice in there, and you've also, if you do your own projects, you're showing that you're passionate about what you're doing.
My name is Jacinda Chu, and I am the lead environment artist at Insomniac Games. What a lead environment artist does is we normally help determine the style and visual quality of the project, and we make sure that the rest of the team kind of just stays on cue. We make sure that we stay consistent. I have a 4-year degree from Rhode Island School of Design, and that's a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Illustration. I got into the business, I guess I got in by chance really, because one of my friends was actually looking for jobs at the same time I was, and she happened to find a job listing for a video game developer, and I started out doing textures. And been in the industry for a while, and now I'm leading. I guess for us, I mean, obviously the technology's changed the most. I mean, back in the day, you could just kind of do something in color and it was flat, you didn't have to worry about it. And at some point, you have to think about things in 3D. And now you have to think about things like normal map, parallax maps, gloss maps. So you have to think about how shiny do I want this thing? Or maybe, how much do I want this thing to show up? Or how much detail do I want to put in this? And if everything's got the same amount of, specularity, where do I want to adjust? So it's almost like you have to think in so many more dimensions now. Oddly enough, when I'm looking at making a team, I'm looking for people who actually want to be in a team, because that sounds kind of obvious, but when you're in art school, you pretty much only learn how to work with yourself. You don't really think about what it takes to collaborate and what it takes to kind of work with people. So I actually look for people who are very receptive, who are eager to learn, and who actually want to be on a team. But at a certain point, a lot of it comes from the individual to kind of come up with their own designs or look at their own resources so they can kind of contribute on their own. I think the hardest part about my job is dealing with people, and I think the easiest part of my job is dealing with people. So, and that's a bit of a contradiction, but I think it's difficult when you have a big team to kind of reach that consensus, or maybe even tell people maybe that something needs to be changed or that you disagree with them. On the other hand, it's the best feeling in the world when you can get everyone on the same page and you can all agree and make something really great happen.
Hi, I'm Jackie Wyrock, and what I do is everything dialogue related at Insomniac Games. I'm the dialogue specialist, and that covers anything and everything relating to dialogue in the video games. I didn't intend to work in video games. I completely fell into this. I went to school for communications and marketing back east at a small school in Pennsylvania called King's College. When I came out here, I worked in the corporate world and then realized I didn't want to work in the corporate world. And then in August of 1996, I moved to Universal Interactive Studios, so that was 11 years ago. I worked with Universal for 2 years before joining the Insomniac Games staff full-time, and so I've been with Insomniac for 9 years this November. What's changed the most is everything. I've gone through PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3, and every year there's something new to learn. There's new tools that we're constantly updating here at Insomniac Games, and so there's always something to learn new. I don't think I'd still be working here if there wasn't something new to learn all the time. It's really important for me to continue growing as an individual, and this industry gives you an opportunity to do that. The people who do the best in this industry, I believe, are those who are teachable. They don't come in here with a set idea of how things should be done based upon their experience in maybe the film industry per se, because video games are an entirely different animal, and in my opinion they're much more difficult to work in than any other industry that I've experienced. The mood in our area is very light and funny and sarcastic and incredibly helpful. We've got a great team.
My name is Andrew Yount. I'm a senior gameplay programmer here at Insomniac Games. We are really the end step of the process of developing a game. We take all the art assets from the art department, the design documents, and all of the audio assets, and really everything that goes into a game, and we put it together and make it a cohesive product.
If you've been ingested by a mutant space eel, please press 2.
I can't imagine what else I would do other than a gameplay programmer. That's really because, unlike a majority of the programming out there, we really have a real creative outlet. The part I love is when we're done with all of this. It's very exciting to see this disc come out on, on our gold date. It always comes down to the end, but we're always very happy with what we produce. My parents got me my first computer when I was 9, I suppose, and I've been programming games ever since. I went to University of Texas at Austin as a computer science major. At the time, that computer gaming was not a field that universities or colleges really even considered to exist. I quickly determined that that was not really what I wanted to do, and I left UT to make games. There are a lot of people out there who really want to do this, and it looks fun, it looks like a fun job, and it is a fun job. But it can be very difficult to get your foot in the door because there are so many applicants. The only advice I can give is really just get any job you can in the industry, get your foot in the door, start getting some experience, and work your way up. Everyone on the team really has to be very motivated, and we kind of rely on the individual motivation and creativity to make sure that the game doesn't become a cookie cutter and that it has character throughout the game. There's no one person in charge of that. It's really every person just has to put a piece of themselves into the game. Insomniac is like no other company I've worked for in that we have the most loyal employees because we all love not only what we do, but how we do it. The management here really cares about games. And while certainly they are running a business and doing a very good job of it, it's not all about a company. It's about creating games. I love this company. It's a great place to work, and it's a great place to make games, and I love the games we make. That's it.
My name is Mike Acton. I'm the engine director here at Insomniac Games, and by engine what I mean is the basic core technology that talks to the PlayStation 3 hardware. As a team, what we do is talk to the processor and provide technology to our gameplay team, our team, to allow them to build the kinds of things that they want to build for our AAA titles. I come from basically a self-educated background. I quit high school as a youth. I never bothered to go or finish, just because I thought industry was way more interesting. Got into games, mostly accidentally. And finally, I went out there, saw what they were doing with the PlayStation 1, and was totally impressed. And since then, I've been hooked on working on Sony platforms through PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and I'm really glad that I got in. Back in PlayStation 1, there wasn't a lot of universities to choose from with a game background or any game trade schools. Fast forwarding to today, what you see is game schools teaching people specifically how to make games, both for artists and designers, as well as programmers. Now, it's questionable how much value that gives, but really the big difference is that we've, as an industry, we've come to expect people to understand how our work is done. I tend to say that for the next generation of games, we'll still be on sort of having those specialty processors. We'll still have a GPU. We may or may not have a physics processor. But for the one after that, I think it's so far down the road that it's impossible to predict what really is going to come out from a hardware innovation point of view. I think the engine department tends to be, I wouldn't say your traditional geek, but we definitely have that sort of tendency to be a little geeky. You know, we have Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans and that sort of thing, and science fiction fans in general. And we have a bigger picture. It's not just a bunch of kids sort of in a garage, you know, playing around. That we all have families. We know what's important, and we're professionals about what we do. So we're all fundamentally grounded in what's real and what's important. And I think that's really what drives our team.
Final thoughts, favorite sayings?
I got nothing.
My name is Drew Murray. I'm a designer on Ratchet Clank Future, Tools of Destruction. We do everything from creating overhead two-dimensional maps that we pass on to the artists that they build the levels out. We come up with initial ideas for enemies and then concept art, mocks them up. At the end, we all come back together. We bring all the pieces back together and put the enemies actually in the levels and do the scripting. In undergrad, I studied art. I got a BFA in traditional art, sculpture, painting, that kind of thing, and then actually went to law school and was a lawyer and hated my life and decided I wanted to do something different and quit my job. After a couple months of me sitting around doing nothing but playing video games, my wife put a foot down and said, you've got to either make money at doing this or find something else to do. So I figured out that being a video game designer is what I was meant to be. Everyone's trying to figure out what next gen is. We've got, physics that we've never had before. We've got a lot of online components that we didn't really have before. I'm sure we'll start seeing a lot more massively multiplayer online games and that kind of thing. One of the things I'm most interested in are going to start having user-created content that, just people can create levels and put them online and share those. I think that's one of the more exciting things that's coming. If you don't really have a passion and you don't really enjoy the process of making these games and enjoy seeing them come to fruition, you're going to burn out pretty fast because it is really hard work. If I didn't do this, I'd be a chef. I really love food and I really love the kitchen work ethic. I actually worked for a couple of years in kitchens, and that's what I'd do if I wasn't here. I think what makes Insomniac a really special and unique place is that we manage to come out every year with a great game on schedule and on budget. I think that's a real testament to the experience of everyone here, and I think that they really drive us to excellence and manage to do it every year, which is a pretty amazing success story for the industry. Not very many people can do that.